Before we jump in and start building forms, it's helpful to know the different types of questions you have available to you. I have a form here. I'm going to click the Edit link to open this form in Edit View. Let's start at the beginning with text. Text isn't actually a type of question, but it allows you to add words to a form that don't require an answer. Usually it's a good idea to include the name of the form at the top in text so that the person filling in the form knows what they're filling out. You can also use text to add things like instructions, explanations, and grading scales. While adding text to the form, you have several options for the type of font you would like the text to display in. When writing your text, click on the T to select the font. There's a specific font designed for form titles. You may also use HTML in your text in order to add effects such as bold, italics, or even hover text. The next two questions are very similar with one variation. Both allow answers which include letters, numbers, and symbols. However, short text questions are recommended if the answer is expected to be a sentence or less, and paragraph questions are recommended if the answer is expected to be longer than that, such as when asking for comments. Numeric questions allow the evaluator to enter a number in their answer only. You have the ability to limit the number of decimals from 0 to 4, while also choosing whether to allow only positive numbers or also negative numbers. Date questions will show a calendar and allow the evaluator to choose a specific date. Date questions always default to the date the person is filling the form out, so it's important that they change it if the date is incorrect. It's also important to note that when forms are sent out within 145, the date of the event, rotation, or course is already tracked and therefore is not necessary to include on your form. This also applies to the rotation name, evaluator name, and target name. The next two questions are very similar to each other. Both have multiple answer options where you can include as many predetermined answers as needed. The evaluator completing the form may only choose one of the answers. The difference? Radio button questions will display all the answers underneath the question with bubbles next to each option, and drop-down questions will be displayed in a drop-down menu. If you have a long list of options, drop-down questions will save you space on your form. Checkbox questions are similar to radio button and drop-down questions in that they have multiple predetermined answers. However, checkbox questions are different in that they allow the evaluator to choose many answers. Answers will appear next to boxes and are usually questions which ask the evaluator to check all that apply. People-based questions, where you're asking someone to indicate their supervisor or the name of who they worked with, allow the evaluator to choose a person who has an account within 145. You can narrow down the answer options by choosing which rank to include in the answer. If the answer may include more than one rank, you can choose multiple. What you choose will limit the results which get returned when the evaluator searches for the person they wish to include. It is important to note that when an evaluation is sent, the person who is being evaluated will automatically be indicated, and therefore there's no need to include a question asking who the evaluator is assessing. The last question type is the Likert question. Likert questions present a scale and asks the evaluator to rate something using that scale. For example, if I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 5 how useful this training is, this is what that question might look like. We'll dive into Likert questions further in their own video, so look forward to that. That covers all the different types of questions at your disposal. Now you're ready to begin building your forms.